Can you hear me? Gotcha. Yeah. Good Wednesday evening. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb from the 11 Alive Weather Impact Team. It has been a great day out there today. You know, we had that cool start this morning with temperatures in the 50s. It was a little bit breezy today with those winds kind of blustery at times. We had a peak wind gust in Atlanta today of 25 miles an hour. Those winds are trying to die down just a little bit, and they'll continue that process during the overnight hours. Tomorrow won't be quite as breezy as it was out there today, but it won't be totally calm either. There will just be some occasional winds off and on during the day tomorrow. Now, what we want you to be prepared for, though, tomorrow is if you thought it was cool this morning when we got down to 53 degrees, it is going to be even cooler coming into tomorrow morning. And we're going to have some chilly mornings here, both tomorrow morning and as well as on Friday morning. And generally, those coolest temperatures of the day are between 4 and 8 o'clock in the morning. And usually the coldest temperature of the day, the low, is usually right at or just after sunrise, before the sun has the chance to start heating things up a bit. So that would be generally between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning, where we normally have that coolest air of the day. We're going to be seeing 40s in the morning. Now in Atlanta, we're thinking it's going to be around 48 degrees. That means in the outlying areas, we're going to have some mid 40s and then even some lower 40s in some spots in more rural areas. And even in the mountains of North Georgia, we may even see some upper 30s around. So definitely have an extra layer, whether that's a jacket or another sweater or a hoodie for the early morning hours tomorrow. And you're going to want your sunglasses too, because we are going to see plenty of sunshine here during the day. And we have the clear skies out there right now. Looking around North Georgia with our satellite data and radar, nothing is showing up here at all. Around Georgia, it is also clear. It is also dry with no rain around in our area and around the southeast too. We've got high pressure sitting on top of us, so nothing really major is moving in. We have sinking air, and with that clear sky, we're going to be able to see these temperatures cooling pretty quickly here during the overnight hours. Speaking of a clear sky, here's that great view that we have right now of our tower cam there on Arizona Avenue in DeKalb County, looking westward toward the city. We had a beautiful sunset earlier. That was just before 7 o'clock tonight. And it is still a really nice night out there tonight too, with those clear skies, just seeing all the city lights kind of flashing there too. A great night. Here's our view right now at Truist Park. Of course, no baseball anymore here in Atlanta, but we do have a great view there of the park, still with clear skies and those temperatures that are starting to trend down a little bit. I wanted to show you this camera. I zoomed in a little bit tighter here to the flag on top of Northside Hospital. This is our tower cam there at Northside Hospital at Georgia 400 and 285. And I wanted to show you this because we still see some wind out there. This flag is not blowing as briskly as it was earlier today, trying to calm down just a little bit, but every once in a while we'll still have a little bit of a gust. You see it kind of swaying there in some of those winds that are still out there tonight. And with that wind, it makes it feel just a little bit cooler, not like a major wind chill or anything, but that breeze just does make those cooler temperatures as they're falling tonight cool down or feel a little bit cooler as that drop in those temperatures happens. Take a look at your almanac for today. We hit 74 degrees for a high. Now, that's still a couple of degrees above the average. We should be around 72 for this time of year. Our low this morning was 53, and that was 1 degree above the average. We should be around 52 for this time of year. We're still very dry out there. Our rainfall deficit is now almost 6.5 inches, as close as you can be to 6.5 inches, at 6.49 inches below where we should be in rainfall for the year. We are going to see some rain coming in later on Sunday and into Monday. It is going to be a better chance for rain that we have seen in a long time, and a better coverage of rain that we have seen in a long time. The models are differing a little bit on how much rain we could get. And I think we're going to be happy with some of the rainfall that we get here for Sunday into Monday, but it's not going to be over 6 inches to wipe out this rainfall deficit. And we'll be getting our drought update in tomorrow on Thursday, and I'm expecting to see those drought conditions expanding and worsening there just a little bit more. Now, look at this range in temperatures today. Starting off at 53 this morning, with those temperatures. And then we were slow to cool today. Now, we did see some big jumps there from 10 to 11. It went from 59 to 64, then 64 to 67, then continuing to rise in the afternoon up to 74 degrees for that high temperature today. And now, we mentioned earlier on the air that once the sun goes down at 7 o'clock, these temperatures will be falling pretty quickly. So here you see at 7, 66, then 63 at 8, and then 61 right now, and will continue falling during the overnight hours. Now, the other thing we've been watching is the wind. These are our sustained winds, not the wind gusts, but we're seeing sustained winds now in Atlanta at about 8 miles an hour. But you saw that flag blowing a little bit more because it's a little gusty at times. I mentioned the peak wind gust today of 25 miles an hour, and it's actually calm in Peachtree City. Then we have 3 mile an hour winds in Covington and Carrollton, 5 mile an hour winds in Duluth, Athens, and Canton, 6 mile an hour winds in Clayton, and relatively calm there in northwest Georgia. So it is calming down a good bit tonight. And with the absence of the wind, that actually is a little more conducive for the temperatures to fall even more. When you have still air and clear skies, that allows those temperatures to fall even more. So that's why we're thinking we'll be in the upper 40s here by tomorrow morning. Here's a look at those wind gusts. These are the peak wind gusts that we had today. I mentioned Atlanta at 25, but also Athens had a peak wind gust at 25. And all of those peak winds were coming out of the west. 23 mile an hour wind gust out of Covington. That was out of the northwest. Canton had a 24 mile an hour wind gust today. So yeah, it was really rather breezy out there for today. Temperatures right now, as we mentioned, now down into the lower 60s, 61 in Atlanta, but that's one of the milder spots that we have elsewhere. We have mid-50s in Peachtree City, 57 in Eatonton and over in Thomaston, 57 in Marietta, mid-50s in Canton. So it is chilly, and these temperatures are going to keep on falling tonight as we move down into those 40s. We're going to start off tomorrow morning right at about 48 degrees. It'll be clear. We'll have plenty of sunshine here really for all day long. It's going to be a beautiful day with that high going up maybe 1 degree higher than we had out there for today, getting up to about 75 degrees, and it won't be as breezy during the day. So here's a look at the forecast track. I'm going to walk you through this over the next couple of days, and you're not going to see a lot moving on this map at all because high pressure is going to stay with us. We've got that cool start in the morning. Lunchtime, still plenty of sunshine. All that's really moving here are the arrows on the map and the time here at the top of the screen. Going into Friday morning, another chilly start in the 40s, and in the afternoon, again, getting up into the mid-70s. So a nice quiet way to end the week before this pattern changes as we go into Saturday and Sunday. Now, on Saturday, we start off mainly clear, but we're going to see a few more clouds building in late Saturday. And with those, it's just going to be generally partly cloudy. It's not like an overcast or anything like that. It's going to be on Sunday when we see additional clouds that are going to move in. And with that, some rain will start to push into our area. So here's another look at that on Thursday. I'm kind of widening out because what I want you to watch is that system that's going to be coming in from the west that has the rain with it. But you see how Friday it's still not here. Saturday you see that more out to the west, closer to the Mississippi River, crossing the Mississippi. Will be dry here, maybe a couple more clouds around. Then on Sunday, here comes the moisture from the west, and we're going to see the rain chances increasing during the day on Sunday. They'll be going up more later in the day. And then really a better coverage of rain later on Sunday, overnight into early on Monday. So this is moisture coming in from the west that's going to be overrunning a shallow, cool layer of air at the surface here with that northeast flow and the wedge. And that wedge is really going to start setting up more on Monday. And we'll still have some of those showers around on Monday and mainly cloudy skies. But on Monday, thanks to that northeasterly flow coming in, it's going to be much cooler. We're talking about high temperatures on Monday only in the 60s, most likely the mid-60s on Monday and on Tuesday and Wednesday. Now this model not showing a lot of rain on Tuesday, but I do think it's still going to be mostly cloudy, maybe some areas of mist and drizzle or light rain around as that wedge is still over us. And then into Wednesday, another bit of moisture may move in to give our rain chance at about 30% here for your Wednesday afternoon. Again, the models aren't in agreement on everything for next week, but I'm leaning with the European model, giving us those slightly better rain chances here going into Wednesday afternoon. And Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday All 3 of those days, we're thinking those highs are going to be in the mid 60s. So dry for the next few days, and then the rain starts pushing in here on Sunday, rain chance at 30%, but then later Sunday, that rain chance will be higher, and then going to 50% on Monday. And we may have to bump that up a little bit too, because the models are starting to come together a little bit more on the rain. At one point, the American model, the GFS, wasn't really showing much rain at all, but the European was showing a good bit. And right now, the European is showing maybe 2 inches of rain over the next 7 days, and most of that would be with that system Sunday into Monday and then also into Tuesday. So higher rainfall amounts from this. But earlier, the American was showing very low rainfall amounts, if anything at all. Now this is starting to come up a little bit. And that's what we do when we're watching the models, is compare them and then just to see if one is showing dry and then all of a sudden it starts getting wetter, or if the other one is really wet and it starts showing drier. So we're hoping these models are going to come together a little bit more here. And that would be great if we could get over an inch of rain with this system Sunday into Monday. Let me show you what's happening right now with Tropical Storm Melissa. Melissa is going to be a troublemaker in the Caribbean. And the reason why is because Melissa doesn't really have a lot of steering currents. And this storm is just going to meander in the Caribbean. And the problem with that is the water there in the Caribbean is very warm. And this is moving at a very slow pace right now at only 1 mile an hour. That's nearly stationary. So when you have a storm like that just sitting and spinning over warm ocean waters, it can grow. Now, so far, it hasn't strengthened, hasn't strengthened that much. We still have winds at 50 miles an hour, but look at the track. This is what we expect, that at that slow motion, tomorrow it'll probably be up to 60 miles an hour. Saturday, overnight, 70 miles an hour, most likely becoming a hurricane during the day on Saturday. Sunday, possibly a Cat 3. Monday, possibly a Category 4. What you're going to see over the next few days is this track is going to be changing a lot, again, because of the lack, the lack of steering currents. Right now, we have these watches that are in effect for Haiti, a hurricane watch, a tropical storm watch for Jamaica. Right now, I think Jamaica is the island that's going to get more of a hard hit from this. And here's a look at those winds. Notice again, it's not moving that much, meandering here, but bringing some of those winds into this part of Haiti right here, and also over into Jamaica. We've got eastern Cuba right up here. So this model is not showing a direct hit, but it's going to be days and days of not only wind, but also days and days of rain wrapping around there. Haiti and Jamaica could see life-threatening landslides there. A lot of rain, 5 to 10 inches of rain would be a big deal for those islands. So again, what I'm showing you today is just one of the scenarios. We're most likely going to see things changing a little bit because as the models are showing, we just don't have a lot of steering currents with it, so they're going to be varying a little bit. That track, we do expect it to eventually go up toward the north and east and stay away from the United States. Here's that hurricane watch for Haiti, tropical storm watch for Jamaica. Spaghetti models are kind of all over the place because of the lack of the steering currents with this storm. So the models are having a hard time determining where it most likely will go. So I just want all of the Caribbean islands here, from Hispaniola, including the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Jamaica, the Caymans right here, and Cuba right here, to keep an eye on that. And even the southern Bahamas, because we think it is going to make a curve eventually and move up to the north and east. We think we're protected here in the Gulf and along the Florida coast because we have the fronts that are sweeping through, and that's going to help to kind of drive that storm up toward the north and east. So that's why we're not overly concerned about this system getting into the Gulf of Mexico or potentially impacting Florida, based on the way the flow is going now at this time of year with those fronts coming in, which should help to give that a push more up toward the north and east. But it's something we're going to have to watch very closely. This could become a big rainmaker and wind maker, and again, a major hurricane for those areas down in the Caribbean. Back here at home, enjoy the next few days because it's going to be nice and sunny. And cool mornings, temperatures in the 70s though in the afternoons. Sunday is the day we start seeing a few more changes with more of those clouds building in and some of the scattered showers that'll be developing, with a 30% chance for showers Sunday. Then late Sunday overnight into Monday, rain chances higher. I do think we'll see some good rain on Monday with cloudy skies, but then look how we cool. With temperatures near 64 with that rain, it's just going to be kind of a dreary day out there. And then we're back to only a low rain chance Tuesday, maybe some light rain showers here and there. And then Wednesday back up to 30% as a little bit more moisture moves in, but still those lows in the 50s, highs in the 60s will keep it on the cool side going into next week. Thank you for watching this extended weather update here on 11 Alive Plus and Weather Impact 24/7. We'll have another update for you tonight at 11 on 11 Alive News. That'll be streaming right here on 11 Alive Plus. We hope you have a great night. We'll have more updates for you coming up throughout the day tomorrow, too.